Shalom, shalom, call Haloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachakudash, and Shani Kabad, Gadwala Requab, the Kwanyam Nawa, Washalayakim Nawa, and that's double honors to our elders and our apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalawam, Wabarakiyom, Labakayam Shayasharala, and that's peace and blessings to the elect of Israel, and as always, a peace and blessings to the confusion of faces. And I want to give a special peace and blessings to those that are out on the front lines, that are not ashamed, that are out there fighting on the front lines, preaching this word in truth and in sincerity. And the reason why I wanted to say that is because before I get into this video, and in this lesson, we're going to get into all the plagues that are happening in the world, and of course, lining that up with biblical prophecy. But as we go throughout this lesson and we see all these things, if you're an individual that's not out there on the front lines, and what I mean by that is out there on the highways and byways and preaching this word and offering your body as a living sacrifice, then you need to seriously examine yourself if you're really in the faith. Because we bring these things out according to the Holy Spirit. We're not bringing these things out to glorify ourselves and see, look what we found, anything like that. No, it's not about that. What we're doing is we're lining up biblical prophecy with what you see, with what we see in the world according to the Holy Spirit, and then we're the watchmen. We're bringing that out to you to let you know the times and seasons that we're currently in. And you need to ask yourself, as you see the comparison, you need to examine yourself and say, all right, well, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about it? Am I going to see all these things and say I believe and say that I'm in the faith, but then just continue with your daily life? Going to work, waking up, doing the same routine every daggone day, knowing that prophecy is here, it's been happening, it is happening, and it will happen, and the Lord is coming? Or are you going to say, you know what? I'm going to stand for something. I'm going to put my foot down. I see all these prophecies coming to pass. It all makes sense. Let me go out there with my brothers and also offer my body as a living sacrifice, because that's what Yahweh Shai commanded me to do. So when you see these things, and as we go throughout this video, just keep that in mind. We're in the time of being decisive. You have to make a decision. So once again, a special peace and blessings to those out there on the highways and byways that are not ashamed, that are not scared to offer their bodies as a living sacrifice. Because we only fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is the book of Matthew 24, and I'm going to read starting at verse 3. It says, and as he sat, that he is Yahweh Shai, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of the coming and of the end of the world? And Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, meaning the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes, in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And that's what we're going to get into in this lesson. We're going to just briefly go over a few articles that I have, that the Spirit led me to. We're not going to read all of them. We're just going to get the meat, going over all the plagues and pestilences and rumors of wars that are hitting America and then the entire world. And then we're going to get out of here. I do want to look up this word, though, really quickly in verse 3. I want to look up world. All right. Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? You can see right here we have the word eon. The word right here is eon for world, which means what? Forever, an unbroken age, perpetuity of time, eternity, the world's universe, a period of time or age. And that's what we're coming into. The scriptures say what in the book of 2nd Ezra? It says that Esau is the end of the world. Meaning Esau, the so-called white man, his rulership is coming to an end. He is the end of this current world, this current rulership or age. And Jacob is the beginning that followeth. All right, starting with the elect out of the nation of Israel. All right. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. All right. So first and foremost, we're on RT News. This was published February 23rd, so only 3 days ago. It says biblical prophecy, Red Sea countries braced for plague of locusts. Now this is a very short and quick read, so we'll most likely get through all of it. All right, it says the United Nations is warning that Egypt and Saudi Arabia could soon be in the midst of a plague of locusts as an outbreak in Sudan and Eritrea is rapidly spreading along both sides of the Red Sea. Heavy rains in the region sparked a breeding frenzy and have unleashed 2 generations of the swarming insects since October, according to a dire warning from the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization. The FAO's chief locust expert, Keith Cressman, said the next 3 months will be critical in bringing the situation under control, which most likely they won't, before the insects begin breeding again in summer. All right, these are the last two paragraphs. Locust swarms contain up to 80 million insects per square mile. I mean, look at that. Look at this. This is what's going on right now. Look at that. What does it say? Locust swarms contain up to 80 million insects per square mile, and they can extend for hundreds of square miles. Each locust can eat its own weight in food every day. So they can pose an apocalyptic threat to food supplies, because this is one of the ways in which the Lord is going to bring in an actual physical, literal famine. A very small swarm eats the same amount of food in one day as about 35,000 people. And the devastating impact locusts can have on crops poses a major threat to food security, says the FAO. The FAO warned. All right, that's one. You see that? Look at this. I mean, 80 million? Come on, imagine that in your city. But this is coming. It's coming, and this is only the beginning of sorrows. It's going to get worse. All right, now let's also check this out. This is on CNN. These aren't small news headlines, small news sites. This is on CNN. It was written, or rather updated, I guess you can say, January 29th. So about a month ago. All right, so last month, January 29th, 2019. It says, Washington is under a state of emergency as measles cases rise. As of Monday, remember last month, there are 36 confirmed cases of measles in the state of Washington, an outbreak that has already prompted Governor Jay Inslee, I guess, to declare a state of emergency. Measles is a highly contagious infectious disease that can be fatal in small children, Inslee said on Friday, adding that these cases create an extreme public health risk that may quickly spread to other counties. All right, 2 more paragraphs. There were 35 cases of the measles in Clark County, which sits on the state's southern border, just across the Columbia River from Portland, Oregon. Officials said 31 of the cases involve people who have not had a measles immunization. The other 4 are not verified. Of the 35 cases, 25 are children between ages 1 and 10. There are also 11 suspected cases in Clark County. There is also 1 case in King County, which includes Seattle. While the King County website says a patient, a man in his 50s, is a suspected case, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. Now you have also coming, or it's here, you have a measles case that's breaking out over there in the West Coast. All right. But it's not just over there in Washington State. Check this out. It's also where else? Madagascar. Now, this was written 21 hours ago. This was just written yesterday. All right, it's on USA Today. It says 900 people died. 900 people died of measles and Madagascar outbreak. Could that happen in the U.S.? All right. 2 paragraphs, most likely, and that's it of this article. As public health officials monitor a measles outbreak in Washington state, the World Health Organization says a separate measles epidemic in Madagascar has killed more than 900 people. Since the outbreak began in September, the country in East Africa has seen more than 68,000 cases of the highly infectious disease, according to WHO. More than 68,000 cases of measles. Come on. The organization says 553 people have died, and an additional 373 are suspected to have died because of the measles. Babies are most at risk. All right. And that's all we're going to read of that article. But it's not just in Madagascar. Where else is the measles outbreak happening? In Japan. This was written February 22nd on the New York Times. All right. February 22nd, 4 days ago. Japan battles worst measles outbreak in years. Why is that? Because we're living in the end. This is the end. The end of Esau's rulership. It says health officials in Japan are combating the country's worst measles outbreak in years, with many infections clustered among attendees of a Valentine's Day gift fair and religious groups that avoids vaccinations. A total of 167 cases were reported in 20 of Japan's 47 prefectures as of February 10th, the National Institute of Infectious Diseases said. All right, it says it is the fastest Japan has reached that many cases at the beginning of the year since 2008. Now peep this. The flare-up of the highly contagious disease comes as the United States is grappling with the measles outbreaks in Texas, New York, and Washington, as we just read, with more than 120 cases reported so far this year. You see that? So you have this epidemic going on, this measles crisis, you can say, that's happened in Washington State, Texas, New York, Japan, Madagascar, and then you also have these, we have a plagues of locusts happening right now. And they said it's going to get worse. Most likely it can get worse this summer. So watch out for that. Stay on the watch. And then what else going on right now? Not herbs and spices, but World War III. All right. So check this out. This is on Express. And this was only written, February 25th. So just yesterday. World War III rehearsal. And you don't rehearse for no reason. I've mentioned it before and I'm going to keep saying it. A boxer doesn't get in the ring, put on gloves and headgear, and start throwing out combos for no reason. You don't practice for no reason. You're practicing for a purpose, something that you have in mind, something that you know is coming. It says World War III rehearsal. Russia releases chilling nuclear hit list, including Trump retreat. Russia has drawn up a chilling hit list. Now also keep in mind, all these things that we see happening in the world today, and we're lining it up with biblical prophecy. I mean, I read one scripture. I read a few verses that just comprise all these articles. So examine yourself whether you are in the faith or not. What are you going to do about this? Are you going to take a stand for righteousness? Are you going to take a stand and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai, who is coming back? It says Russia has drawn up a chilling hit list of U.S. military facilities Moscow would target in the event of a nuclear strike, including the Pentagon and Donald Trump's Camp David presidential retreat. The list was broadcast in a report which Western analysis said was unusual even by the, bellicose standards of Russian state TV. The startling report went out just days after President Vladimir Putin warned Moscow was militarily ready for a Cuban Missile-style crisis if the United States wanted one. You see? So Russia is saying, look, we're ready for war. If you want a so-called, quote-unquote, Cuban Missile-style crisis, U.S., if that's what you want, we're ready. And they put out on TV targets in the United States that they would, that they would actually shoot for. All right, trying to word that the best way possible. They put out U.S. targets. All right, it goes on to say, with tensions rising over Kremlin fears of a U.S. deployment of intermediate-range nuclear missiles in Europe, Mr. Putin has said Russia will be forced to respond by placing hypersonic nuclear missiles on submarines near U.S. waters. And that's all we have to read right there. So wars and rumors of wars, plagues and pestilences are happening all over the entire world. And then, I don't have it up, but let me get this too, because I was in my email and then this popped up. Hold on, let me get this real quick. Because this wouldn't be complete if I didn't type this in. Man volunteered to get chipped. Trying to find the exact article. Hold on, give me 1 second so I can just put in this article really quickly. It's on Reuters. I'm going to get it because I have it up in front of me on my laptop. Man receives under skin chip implant. All right. Live. Here we go. 22 hours ago. Barakateh Shai. Man receives on Reuters 22 hours ago, just yesterday. Man receives underskin chip implant live at mobile show. So this thing is getting big. It's already big, but it's only going to get bigger. All right. If you don't know that by now, then the microchip, or it also goes by the RFID chip, the microchip or the RFID chip is truly indeed the mark of the beast. It is the mark of the beast, and it will be made mandatory very, very, very soon. And it's being pushed heavily on a global scale. All right, Edgar Pons, we're only going to read, a paragraph or two, and that's it. It says, Edgar Pons said he decided to have the RFID chip implanted because it contained credentials to open the door to his house. These people are simple. It is super for me, very useful because I have an automatic house, he said, adding he was further motivated by the fact that he could withdraw it very easily, simply making it a little cut and pressing it. All right, let me, the chip is a grain of rice. During the presentation at the Mobile World Congress, that's where this all happened, live on stage at the Mobile World Congress show. All right, organized by Spanish bank Sabadell, a man named Paul, who had already been fitted with a chip, made a payment by placing his smartphone over the skin covering the chip. So they're trying to get this thing out global, because you can easily just go onto a website right online and you can buy it and you can actually implant yourself. And they're really trying to push this out here so people start doing it until some kind of a crisis, aka a false flag, happens. And then they create the order and they create the solution out of that crisis, which will be this chip. I'm just bringing it out just to show you that we're living in the end times, because we see all these prophecies happening at the same exact time. We see plagues happening around the world. We see pestilence happening around the world. We see World War III, rumors of war, right? And then we also see what? We see the mark of the beast being promoted, being pushed heavily on a global scale. All right. It says what we have been seeing now is what the future of payments could be. And that's it on that. That's all I have to really go into right there. Oh, that was it. Well, that's it right there. So you see it on Reuters. This was just 1 day ago. All right. And that's the point. I pray that this video was edifying. Once again, you see that all these things are happening around the global world. Your job is to examine yourself, whether you are in the faith or not. Get out there on the highways and byways, offer your body, get on the front lines. You see your brothers out there. And if you say you're in the faith, you need to be doing the same exact thing. Pushing this word in truth and in sincerity, offering your body as a living sacrifice. So with that being said, I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Chakudash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect, the Tabernacle of David. Shalom.